to get it situated.
Okay, there we go. We'll wait for JR to come back.
The happy birthday that we sang to Jack was almost as horrifying as that time that George Berryman was channeling Marilyn Monroe on the one of the anniversary episodes.
I don't remember that at all.
Hi, George.
What's up?
You remember that? You remember when you came on? I think it was the 100th episode, actually.
And saying happy birthday.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hit refresh on the front page.
You know, I was doing because I know we're doing Jeopardy in a few months, so I was getting all the episode numbers and the records and everything we had of who won and everything, and I forgot that two of the 100 episode anniversary shows were Spider Jeopardy, and both, ironically enough, it was 200 and 400, and I both times I won with JR on 200, and then I won when JR decided to take a sabbatical for 400.
That's funny.
That's
all right,
weird.
Let me get my
One of
notes
those weird
up.
quirks.
Let's see. What should we start with?
So, Brad, did you take my advice and not Regenerations Hulk?
No, you mean Generations?
Yeah.
As you said, Regeneration. Yeah, I read it. It was bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
I warned you.
It literally was a story about nothing. And all the stories are kind of. I read the Wolverine one. I read the Thor one. Yeah, I think those are the ones I read. It's basically let's take a random moment in time and put the 2.0 version in, and let's just see what happens and charge $5 for it.
Right, but
and then at the end of the issue, flash forward to the future. There's nothing to it.
Some of them are okay, but the Iron Man one was just probably the worst.
I don't think I read the Iron Man one yet.
Oh my gosh, it is.
The Hulk one. It makes me just miss Banner more. I mean.
Oh yeah. I mean,
but Banner's back as a result of Secret Empire, Brad. Shouldn't you be so happy?
He died again.
I'm not even back to the part of Secret Empire where Banner's back. Banner, the zombie Banner came back in Uncanny Avengers, and Deadpool fought him.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Nobody reads Uncanny Avengers. It's not bad, but
was I a little too over the top? I'm sorry.
Not over the top, just loud as hell. When you're going to scream like that, give us a warning so the rest of us can change our damn.
Coming down 3, 2, 1, scream. That's funny.
Sorry, George. I apologize.
I say we start with lenticular covers. I'm not gonna. I think that's the best one. I think that's a good one.
That's gonna probably have the most back and forth on that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Lord President. Damn spoilers about Banner.
My bad.
Oh, breaking news from Lord President: Venom production supposedly delayed.
Oh, really?
Oh, there's a shocker.
What a shock. What a shock.
Who called it? I said it was never going to get made. I said it was never
too old for comics goes, spoilers, it sucked.
What a shock.
That's funny.
All right,
oh, Lord President says I look like Simon Cowell. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah. You gotta undo your shirt so you have a whole bunch of man cleavage.
Oh no, I gotta wear the white. I've got to have a white T-shirt under this, which I do actually, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna dress in front of you. I'm not gonna undress in front of people and make them all like. Because I don't want people to pass out.
I like George's post on YouTube just now. George will be doing Spider Jeopardy until the day George leaves. That's funny. George has been writing questions for Spider Jeopardy, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he has.
JR, are you ready
back in July
to defend yourself?
I guess so. I mean, are you going to take me down again this year like you have all the other years before?
Oh, now you're asking for it. You're crackly, JR. What's going on with your mic? What happened?
There we go.
Oh, there you are. That's better.
He was doing that on purpose.
Yeah, he just wanted to growl at me.
Chips Ahoy still there, Berryman or Brad?
Mm-hmm.
How did the bake sale? How did the lemonade stand do today?
Ava made more money than anybody. She made $40.
Did the cops come and hassle her, or does she have a license?
Well, no, I'm friends with the cops. Yeah.
Corruption is alive and well in the city of Joplin.
You gotta have.
No, it was funny. People were so nice to her, and I cleaned out my garage. I still got a little bit of junk in there, but that was our first yard sale I've ever had. That was crazy. It's amazing. I don't like my own junk. Why am I going to someone else's house to get their junk?
Wow.
I don't understand the concept of yard sales, but people love them. And you know, another thing.
Well, Brad, people will come and buy that and then put that crap on eBay and flip it for way more than you sold it to them for.
Oh, yeah. God bless them. God bless them. If they want to get rid of some of my stuff. I didn't sell any comics before anybody else. I'm the Joplin Kingpin. I am not. Come on, Lord President. I didn't sell any comics. What else was I going to say about yard sales? This is one thing I noticed. Our yard sales started at 7 a.m. and people showed up at 6:15.
Yeah.
I'm not awake. I'm opening the garage doors. We're getting stuff ready, and here comes some old people. I mean,
dude, sometimes that is deathly serious.
I guess. Like, and then these people, the old people, were like, "So you just getting started?" I'm like, "No, lady, this starts in 40 minutes."
Never underestimate the power of bargain prices, Brad.
We just wanted to make sure we were going to get the best deal.
And, you know, another thing, it's funny to watch people at yard sales. So we had a box of purses. And this woman,
yours or Mrs. Crawlspace's?
So they were real.
He keeps his pumpkin bombs in. So.
Some of them were like $1 and something like that. And so this woman says, "How much for your purse?" And my wife goes, $1. She looks at it and puts it back. Like, a purse is not worth $1. Like, what was she expecting the price to be? 50 cents? I mean, what was the counter offer?
That was she was expecting your wife to look at her phone. Yeah. And face a displeasure and say, 50. I'll take 50 cents. I mean, it's like these. I've had several garage sales, and it's people are just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
What's some funny experiences you've had?
I've seen people fight before.
Oh my gosh! Really? Tell me.
Yes.
What about what?
I saw a couple of ladies getting into a fight once.
Wow.
Yeah, it was over something old, though, and they were like, "Well, I saw it first." And I mean, like, it got to that. It was like, "Well, I saw it first and everything." And this is back when I was in high school, and I was at my Aunt Mary's over in Fort Worth, and I was like, "Oh." I just kind of backed up, like, behind my Uncle Walter, and I was like, "I'll let y'all handle this," because they were starting, like, claws were coming out. You know, it was like,
"Oh my."
First, well, I know, but I was here before you. Oh, I know. I'll cut you, bitch. I mean, like, it started to escalate.
JR, tell me about some of your fights. I mean, not fights, yard sales. Or both.
No, it's like someone coming up to my wife or whatever and asking, "Will you take X amount for this?" And my wife will say, "No," and then the response will be, "Well, you don't know how garage sales work, do you?" And then people asking if Spencer's my grandson. Well, that has happened more than once.
Poor JR.
But no, it's just you put a price of $1 on something, and someone asks, wants to pay you 50 cents, and I've told more than one person, just no, forget it. No.
Yeah. Have you ever sold comics, Adam? At a yard sale?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't sell anything. Basically what we sell are old clothes.
Yeah, we sold a lot of those.
Household, just household knickknacks that my wife has accumulated over the years. We got rid of all her vinyl one time. Somebody came and bought the whole box of records that she had. Spencer, the toys. I mean, I have sold Beanie Babies, Barbies, you name it over the years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've bought a few comics at garage sales. I bought the first couple of, I think the first 2 parts of Life Theft, the infamous Parrots Turned into Robot saga.
Oh, really?
Bought that for 50 cents a piece, so that was nice.
Wow. You paid too much.
Yeah. All right. Let's get. This isn't the yard space, crawl space, whatever.
Yard space, crawl space.
Spider-Man yard space.
The Spider-Man yard space.
Spider-Man yard space. All right. We've got 20 viewers. We've got them chatting it up. We've got. Let me get the news. Mike, we're starting with you with the lenticular covers. You guys ready?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Coming down 3, 2. Hey, Crawl Spacers. Welcome to our Spider News. We're starting off with Mike talking about. Retailers are kind of upset about these new lenticular covers that Marvel's putting out. It's like the 90s, dude.
Oh, yeah. It's the 90s all over again. Well, the thing is, okay, a couple of months back when DC, they kind of did their whole, they did a thing crossover called The Button, where they had a thing where they offered the regular issues of Batman and the Flash, because that was what the crossover was, and they offered lenticular covers. Now, if you don't know what a lenticular cover is, it's basically like, you ever get one of those little card things where you turn it one way and it changes the picture, like you just kind of like those little things. That's basically what these kind of covers are.
Changes images. Now, the thing, like 2 images in one.
It changes 2 images in one. Yes, and the thing is, apparently, because the way they are priced, because the way the direct market works, they count the lenticular covers almost as separate issues, even though the content inside is the same. And, well, apparently you can get big, apparently order-wise, they go get big money on this. So apparently Marvel's like, hey, let's decide to do this too with Legacy, because, hey, we can't rip off DC enough. So they're going to do, so they decided for Marvel Legacy for their issue number 1, to offer kind of these exclusive lenticular covers, like you basically, and also on certain other Marvel Legacy things.
Hornacek had a good line. Hornacek had a good line. It's like Sensational Spider-Man number 0. That was a lenticular cover. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, very good. That's right. Yep. Or I think Hologram was for issue 400. If I remember right. Okay. But
no, the hologram was 365, the 30th anniversary.
Oh, it was 365? Oh, I thought 400 was
400 was
400 had the really bad tombstone, like supposed to.
Yeah, Aunt May's tombstone. It was like white on white.
Yeah, okay, because I thought that was like 3D or something.
Or gray. It was actually gray on gray. The white was the rare cover that they did for that particular book.
Okay, yeah, but I knew they did something similar before. But
Mike, the retailers have to order more copies than they did previously to get this stuff, and they don't think they can sell them.
Yeah, because what the catch is with the lenticular covers is you have to order apparently, and this is, I'm going to be reading one of the complaints one of the retailers is, that this is verbatim. He says, for the Marvel Legacy event, the rules are not as clear-cut, and it is constantly changing. At this point, we need to order 100 to 200% of our previous issue numbers in order to qualify in order for any lenticular covers. There are also additional tiers which will qualify for other variant covers. There is so much math involved that it is insane. So basically, and so Marvel was essentially says, no, you can buy as many of these lenticular covers as you want and everything. But no, you have to buy the regular X number of copies of the regular issue first in order to qualify for the lenticular covers, and then you can buy as many lenticular covers as you want. And this is nothing new in terms of the what they call the retailer incentives. Basically, because Marvel is basically the way they've been boosting their direct market numbers is that they've been selling. They've been offering kind of retailer discounts in terms of like you order X amount of issues and or you match your orders of a previous issue, and then we'll knock off the pricing. So they're trying to do this with the lenticular stuff, but as a result of this, many of these comic book shops are thinking, no, forget it. We're dropping out of this thing. We're just going to get the regular issue, and that's it. We're not going to go for this gimmicky lenticular stuff and everything just to boost, just to make you guys look like you're going to have like the #1 comic when not really.
Why doesn't Marvel just offer the lenticulars for however much more it costs, for say $1 more, so $4.99 versus $3.99? Why don't?
Well, yeah, that's how it's
reach.
That's how it's normally supposed to work. That's kind of how DC did theirs when they did the button.
Because that doesn't pad Marvel's numbers, Brad. Marvel's specifically trying to inflate their numbers by forcing them to buy certain
amount. Not good.
It's all about market share. Yeah.
It's good business for Marvel in that Marvel is squeezing blood from a stone, but it's horrible for the retailer.
Right.
And
it's all about
retailers go away. What do we got? What do we got?
Marvel
because they've been getting their butt kicked in terms of the critical acclaim of legacy or whatever rebirth. Excuse me. So that the only thing that they can sit there and hang their hat on is, oh, we're still winning the market share. We're still got the biggest. We're still the king of the market because we've got so many books out, and we're still selling we're still producing all these.
Is that your car salesman impression?
Yeah, sort of, yes.
Come on down. We've got lenticulars by the barrel.
We got these lenticulars
from Blues Brothers.
If you push, pull, drag to get your lenticular covers.
On a mission from God.
Yes. So that solves them. This is not a long-term win for Marvel. This is a month-to-month survive. This is like paycheck to paycheck for Marvel.
Well,
this is part of the promotion.
It's starting to get noticed outside the comics press is the thing. And that's something that Marvel, I don't think, wanted. Because everybody knows it, everybody talks about it, but Marvel can claim this or that. But now this started popping up in other like different like magazine websites and other outlets besides the comics press this week. So that's something that Marvel, I don't think, wanted people talking about outside of the circle, that is that Marvel and their retailers.
Yeah, it's right because it's very. I think it's just sad. I think it's just sad. I wish we had a long-term goal or that Marvel would have, and it reminds me of paycheck to paycheck is what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that the fact is across the line. What is the last critically acclaimed book that came out of Marvel? Honestly, the last thing I remember hearing about from people was like, "Oh, you need to check out this new Ms. Marvel."
Yeah.
And I mean, really, but since then, it's been controversy after controversy after controversy, and I mean, nobody's talking about Spider-Man these days. So we have to sit there and do this entire not reboot line shakeup because this is what they did with the Ultimate Universe. I'll talk about that for a second. Right. You remember Ultimatum? You remember the Miles Morales launch? They tried doing everything they could to resuscitate that line, and they're taking that same sales concept that ultimately ended up failing and brought it over to the main line, and now it's doing the same thing. This lenticular stuff. Look, this is exactly, and we've talked about this verbatim on the show. I know. This is exactly the 90s. And when the speculation finally busts for Marvel, and they maybe they'll start doing story-driven, quality storytelling. Until then, we're not going to see that.
Well, I mean, with this thing though, I mean, it's different in that you had a lot of big retailers start pushing back on it. Like you have My Comic Shop, which is, I mean,
they're big in Texas.
They are. I mean, well, they're big online.
They're the biggest online, retailer.
They're big online. They don't. I mean, they've closed all their brick and mortar stores in Texas, but I mean, they do more business online.
Did they really close all their brick and mortars? That's sad. I've always wanted to.
They had one more store left in Arlington, and they got rid of it like last year, I think.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, they do their business online, but even they've come out and said this past week, we're not buying them.
Yeah,
we're not going to do it.
And I think didn't Mile High say the same thing more or less?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
here's comics is a big one too.
Here's why they're not doing it. I mean, first of all, they know they have to order a multiplier of books. They're never going to sell. They're not going to move.
They're going to have to sell for a quarter.
Or if they do, they're going to have to sell them at a reduced cost. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 3 #1 costs $6 to buy without a variant cover, just the regular cover, and you can get it on their website for $4. So they already know going in, we're going to take a hit on whatever non-variant this is. But at the same time, they're like, and then Marvel's going to give us additional amounts of that we can't even sell, that we can't even move. That we have to pay to store in a warehouse now.
Right. So you're paying costs to store it in the warehouse because you're getting all these extra books. At the end of the day, and this is something that going back to like when I still got my books from my local comic shop, he's been doing it for 25 years. He said, look, I don't over-order books. If I get a variant, great. I'll try to give it to my regulars, my guys that have my pull list. Unless somebody specifically wants that variant, that's when I'll order it. I mean, it won't come out. They won't get it that same week. But I'm going to only order maybe 3 or 4 of a popular book.
Yeah.
So that way I can control my costs because I don't want to have a whole back room full of books that nobody wants.
You know, I think from top to bottom is what, George, you've said this. We need just a reshuffling of the editorial and the executives, etc. Tom DeFalco, not Tom DeFalco.
Not a reshuffling.
Not Tom DeFalco. Tom Brevoort had a tweet this week that said, "I can't believe I'm celebrating 20 years of editing the Avengers comics."
That's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, I liked his Busick and Perez stuff, but 20 years and Avengers now is a shadow of what it used to be.
Oh yeah. Well,
and Alonso, I don't think he's been successful as an editor in chief.
No. The only thing he's been successful at doing is, and this is legitimate. The only thing that Alonso has been successful doing is launching more ethnically diverse characters. That's only thing. That is the only thing that he can hang his hat on.
But that's the only thing online that Marvel's editors even care about. That's all they'll even, like, if you go to their Twitters, their writers and their editors, that's all they talk about, how woke they are. We're not emphasizing story. We're just, how woke is everybody?
For those that are longtime listeners, if you remember when we did the Omit reviews, the thing that Kevin and I, I was yelling, "Preach it, brother, preach it," because I listened to this episode the other day. The thing that Kevin brought up was, it's an agenda. And instead of it, that was what Omit was, that was what One More Day was. It wasn't a story, it was an agenda. That has now permeated the entire line. And even when it's all about the agenda and not about the storytelling, ultimately that's going to be a business proposition that fails.
We haven't heard from JR and Ashley yet. Let's hear from JR. What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't buy a lenticular cover if I saw one. I have absolutely no interest in them. The thing is, I think actually the problem with Marvel is nothing's going to happen until Perlmutter dies. I think Perlmutter's got to go. I think a lot of this.
You don't think he'll leave his post until he dies, or you don't think
no,
he'll be fired?
Guys like well, one, he can't be. He probably can't be fired. He probably, when he sold Marvel, he probably signed something with Disney that said they can't get rid of him.
He's in there forever, like Sumner Redstone at Viacom.
Yeah, I mean, the only time he's gonna leave is they're gonna have to cart his dead body out. And he, I mean, he's run things on the cheap for years. He's always been trying. He made millions. He made his fortune squeezing blood out of a stone. Yeah. And that's the way he's running Marvel. He's trying to influence the rest of Disney that way. Personally, I don't know why Bob Iger tolerates it, but
I don't think Bob Iger realizes it's even going on as far as the publishing. I think Disney corporate doesn't have, idea one about what Marvel Publishing's doing, other than that they sell Star Wars comics now.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I'll be honest with you. This is so far down the food chain. They've got so many bigger problems Disney does than the Marvel Publishing division that this is literally probably the last thing that they really want to care about or think about. If the Marvel Publishing division shut down tomorrow, they wouldn't. I don't think that Disney would bat an eye.
No.
We haven't heard from Ashley. What do you think about the retailers having to order X amount of books to get a special one?
I feel like the whole way that it's measured to begin with is just really skewed. It's just, I don't know. Just as a consumer, I'm not gonna go get any, spend any extra money on some cover when the content isn't really worth getting anyways.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Look, cover doesn't make a bad story better.
Right.
The
insides of the books better than the outside.
Look, somebody brought up that Sensational Zero, and I'm sorry I had to let my dog out, so I wasn't on the line at the moment. That isn't even a very good lenticular cover.
Lenticular?
Or whatever it's called.
Lenticular.
Well, let's call it lenticular. That works.
If it was on Spectacular Spider-Man, it'd be a lenticular cover.
Yeah. But if you own that particular issue of Sensational Spider-Man Zero, it's kind of hard and it's a mess. So I'm not jonesing for Amazing Spider-Man the lenticular cover.
DC did some lenticulars and they look a lot better 20 years later after they did that Sensational Zero one.
Well, right.
My favorite cover gimmick from the 90s was the hologram covers, like the X-Men hologram covers.
I thought those were great.
Yeah.
When the primary concern is what are we doing with variant covers, and when that takes precedent over what's happening actually in our books,
Yeah,
the wheels are so off the bus, man.
Well, when that is your big announcement, instead of talking about the actual storytelling, this goes into some of my problems with San Diego this year. Marvel just didn't show up; they phoned it in.
Well, they didn't have an idea of what to say or do after DC started cleaning their ass,
and also the fact that they've invested so much into Secret Empires, that was going to be their big thing, and that apparently that thing has just been a big route. And if you've seen some of the images in terms of like pictures from comic shops about showing like stacks worth of Secret Empire issues that are just sitting on the shelves,
they didn't know what to do after the public didn't buy into. Oh, hey, Captain America joins Hydra.
Yeah.
Suddenly, because they thought everybody would just eat that up like crack, and apparently they were like, "Oh, well, actually, people care a lot about that."
For the last 6 years, in popular culture, Hydra has been portrayed as a Nazi-like organization, and then you put Captain America with that particular group. Are you kidding me? And thinking that's a good idea?
Dark Raven 09 on YouTube comments says, "My favorite cover gimmick is no cover gimmick."
And another thing which we don't have listed as a news item, which we talked about in the review, the review Facebook thing that we have,
right?
Is you had Alonzo and Brevard coming out, and they talked about Legacy, and they were telling retailers like 3 months ago, we hear you on the event thing. We get it. Event fatigue is real. And now their new line is everything's an event.
Yeah.
Everything is an event. And they just look so tired, and they sounded so tired. And I love the Bleeding Cool thing by Jude Terry, where he was showing them looking like with their eyes closed and, like getting them. That was funny to me because it's true.
Well, again, if the rumors are true, the whole reason why they're doing this Marvel Legacy anyway is because they're trying to compete with what DC did, and so this is just like a stopgap measure to basically sort of try plug in the dike. Basically,
there's no one there telling them that they can't compete with DC because they're not willing to own up to the shit that they've done. That's key in what DC has done. DC had to earn back reader trust. Marvel doesn't understand that they have to do that.
Yeah.
I think Jeff Johns, being who you've had more interactions with Jeff Johns than probably anybody here there, George, in the past.
Yes.
I think Jeff Johns at his core, he's still a fan. And I think at his core, he still wants DC to succeed beyond what they've done previously. And I think that he understood that, if the fans aren't liking it, they're ultimately who we are beholden to. And we have to make that significant change in order to survive.
With the Legacy stuff, we bring up Johns, and I was thinking about Johns earlier today in relation to a lot of this stuff because, basically what Marvel is trying to do, and they've tried to do it again before. JR and I have talked about it. They're trying to get rid of old readers and bring in all these new readers. Well, the new readers don't ever come in at the same numbers as the people that you just pissed off who left. And Jeff Johns did 20 years ago, Jeff Johns at DC proved you don't have to pick one or the other. You can tell stories if you care about the characters, if you care about the story quality. You can do things that appeals to both. You can bring in elements that older fans will love and that newer fans will eat up because it's well done. And he proved that. He proved that on title after title. He kind of went off the reservation when we started getting into 87 different flavors of Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And then everything became an unending series of events. But I mean, he proved it. He didn't listen to anybody telling him, well, you can't do that. And so that's what we have now. We have people who don't. Does anyone really think Axel Alonso loves any of these characters? Or does he love getting a check for making decisions for them?
Oh, I think he must love.
I don't see that. Has anyone seen that in anything Axel Alonso's done? Or said?
You mean by making a bunch of legacy characters?
I think
that's what his legacy will be.
I think Brevard did at one point, but I don't think Brevard does anymore. I think Brevard's probably tired.
I'm not going to pretend to know what's going on in their heads.
Yeah.
But I do know that I think Alonso has a passion for the medium. I don't know if he has I don't think he has the same reverence that clearly displays. They just are two different people, and that may not be. And we don't know enough about Alonzo as a person. You know what I mean? I don't see enough interviews with him in relation to that.
Let's start moving on real quick. In the YouTube live chat, Enigma wants to know if we have a lenticular cover of this live stream. I think that would be funny. Also, there was another one. Anyway, let's move on to another topic. We've got Zach. The new Marvel Spider-Man cartoon came on. Of the panel, who has seen the cartoon? Ashley, have you seen it?
I've seen the first 2 episodes.
Okay, I haven't had a chance to give it a watch yet.
George, have you seen it?
What do you think?
I know.
No.
JR, have you seen the cartoon?
Nope.
Okay.
Has Spencer watched it, JR?
Well, where is it broadcast on, to be honest?
Disney, exactly. Disney XD.
Disney XD.
We don't get Disney XD.
You're not missing anything.
The only bit of the cartoon I've seen is the previews that they've done on YouTube, and I was
YouTube showed the first 2 episodes for free on Disney, the Disney XD YouTube channel. They showed the first 2 epides of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I saw the origin story, is what I saw.
I saw those too. Yeah.
Okay.
So Mike, you're gonna have
Zach can mainly comment about this, but Zach, it's your topic. Talk a bit about the cartoon. What are your thoughts?
All right. So okay. So my thoughts are okay. So we had. Do you guys remember when they did the Batman the animated series, and then they canceled that, and then they replaced it with Batman the Batman?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is very much the same way. They had Ultimate Spider-Man, which ran for 4 seasons, which is actually and this is sad to see and sad to even think about. But literally, it's the longest running show animated cartoon in Spider-Man's storied history of cartoons.
Yes,
more episodes than any other show.
Mm-hmm.
So we take that, and then we're going to go in a completely different direction, and we're going to do it with 100% more science.
Yep.
I'd actually texted Dawn because I knew this was going to be my topic. I actually texted Dawn to try to send me an MP3 of him yelling science, but I just didn't get it in time. So, all right. So basically,
is the storytelling better than Ultimate?
Yes and no.
Yeah,
it's a little more tough. Okay, here's my biggest con of it. It's like it overcorrects itself. So, the main premise of the show is it's surrounded by Horizon High, and Max Modell is the head of Horizon High. All right.
Horizon Lab?
Yeah.
No, it's Horizon High.
Horizon
Labs, but they basically re-envisioned it as a high school.
Okay, so basically, it is a...
And Dan Slott, is he an executive producer? What's Dan's
consulting producer, I think.
He's a consultant on the show, yeah.
We have a lot of
which tells you everything you need to know.
Okay, executive producer is
a character.
Also, by the way, remember the head of Marvel Animation now is Steve Wacker.
Steve Wacker,
our good old nemesis, Steve
Whatever
Wacker.
got him the hell off the books, dude. Whatever it took.
I'd rather have Wacker than Low right
now. I'd rather have Wacker
Nick Lowe, than
as the editor on Spider-Man.
Oh.
Anyway.
So the writing is a smidge better, Zach.
Yes. Okay. Here's the thing: if you can get past the slot-isms that have permeated this show, it's not a bad show. The animation style is something that I know Brad has really not liked.
I hate the animation. It looks so cheap. The '90s and Amazing Friends look better than this show.
It looks a little better on televisions than like the YouTube clips did, but I'll be honest with you, it's something that leaves me very cold. Spectacular was something when I first saw it, I didn't like it, but I grew to love it because of how Spider-Man moved. This doesn't. The animation was never the problem with Ultimate Spider-Man, and I get why they're doing a different style with it because they want to differentiate between the two. Because this is just simply Marvel's Spider-Man, as if it could be anybody else's Spider-Man. So we have a very familiar voice if you're a Spider-Man fan that does the voice of Norman Osborn. Josh Keaton is the voice of Norman Osborn, and I guess
how's he sound? I haven't heard him, and I love Josh Keaton.
What?
he actually sounds. He doesn't sound bad. Basically, it's like that old the old joke from Dark Knight. You either die the hero or see yourself, or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Become the villain. Yep.
So Josh does a good job. The voice acting is not bad. My biggest thing is your four main.
What is Norman Osborn, like 12?
No, he's not in high school. You got Harry, who was kicked out of school for making bombs, which is what you would do. Yeah, pumpkin bombs. That is.
Oh yeah.
Norman creates a rival high school called Osborne High. So you got Osborne High.
Wait a minute. Let's look at JR's face. Look at JR's face when we just said Osborne High. He face palmed it.
Yeah, he totally breaks out the face palm. So
real quick, JR, can you imagine Norman as a high school principal?
No.
Yeah. Come on, you can give me more than that.
This will confirm Berryman's hatred of this show, because one of the first villains that we've seen in this particular series is 70s Jackal. But it's not Miles Warren. No.
Who is it?
It's Raymond Warren, aka Miles Warren's brother, who was the principal in Spider-Man school.
Oh, really?
However, this is what happened. So Raymond Warren is somehow Gwen Stacy's uncle. So they keep the creepy Gwen Stacy, like that relationship is like whatever. So like it's like, oh hey Uncle Raymond, and I'm like, Raymond? Who the f is Raymond? Like I'm sitting there losing my mind, and so I finally like, who the f is Raymond Warren? This is acid. I'm throwing a huge temper tantrum because I'm like, what the f is this? So, and I'm self-editing for you, Brad. Okay, I'm trying to use the Brad filter, but something was pointed out to me today by a friend of mine. Basically, I understand why they didn't use Miles Warren, because guess what? Miles Morales is one of Peter's classmates. Oh yeah. So we got Anya Corazon.
So we have two Mileses in the show.
No, we only have one
because
Miles.
We get Miles
because they have Miles. Go ahead, Mike.
Morales. Yeah. They got Miles Morales.
Because Miles Morales has the name Miles in it. We can't have a Miles Warren.
We have to use Raymond Warren instead.
And they've also, by the way, kind of got Anya Corazon, and basically she's kind of the Sajani Joffrey of the cartoon. They basically gave her, because they literally took. Yeah, they literally
took me want to know it all.
They literally took a scene of a plot point. They literally took a plot point from Big Time, where they basically have a demonstration of like artificial vibranium. That they show this as a demonstration at the school, and it goes haywire and all this stuff. So
like slime in a different medium.
Yes, it very much is. It's not as terrible. The sad thing is it's not as terrible as Ultimate became.
Basically, you're saying it's not an F, it's a D. I mean, is what you're saying.
It's a C minus. I'll be honest.
Oh, you went up.
I mean, it's a C minus. No, trust me. It's passable, but barely. I would not. This would be the last. I mean, this and Ultimate Spider-Man would be the last I would expose my little girl to Spider-Man in terms of through cartoons. I would totally expose her to Amazing Friends and the '81 series, Spec especially, but like the '60s show, the '90s show, even like this is like the 2003 new animated series is better.
Whoa. Frontier on YouTube chat says the pro Black Cat is actually in character. Ashley's sake, let's hear this. Yeah. Why is she may watch because of this?
Okay, so here's the thing: Black Cat has her bad luck powers. She is a bit of a romantic foil, but she's also a
How is she a romantic foil for a 12-year-old?
She's portrayed as considerably younger, so I don't.
She's 9.
No. Peter is 15. Okay, guys, this is high school.
She's 12, 13.
So we taken a sex object and we. Pardon me, Ashley. I'm sorry, but I mean, Felicia's. That's how she's represented nowadays. I mean, you put her on covers, you put like cleavage that goes 8 feet down, but they've taken her and they've made her into like a teenager.
Yep.
They made Felicia a teenager?
For her image. Maybe Peter can go riding on her back too.
Wow. However, However,
hey Zach,
That'll kill any romance real fast.
real quick, is it true that Quesada and Slaughter are in
Go
the
ahead.
cartoon?
Oh, yes, they are.
I have not. Yes, they are.
So it's basically just a big circle jerk.
Oh.
Come to think of it, there was that
I
one.
wouldn't go that far.
Sorry. Just come to think of it, there was that one panel in Evil That Men Do where Black Cat was riding on Peter's back.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, Black Cat, that was actually probably my favorite episode because but it kind of took the bad luck powers and took them to an 11. But I have not seen today's the day of this recording's.
Just one more time, Zach. Spider-Man's about 15, 16. Black Cat is younger than him, correct?
No. Same age. I would say the same age or slightly older.
Okay.
Maybe 17 or 18.
Okay.
If he's 15 or 16, she's probably 17 or 18.
Okay. There's also a couple other character changes too. I'm sure we got one of your guys' favorite villains in this is Clash. He's one of the Osborn students.
Yeah.
So this whole thing is basically just to get Dan Slaughter royalty check.
Yeah.
Because they got a Shocker and Flash like rivalry in one of the episodes.
Yeah,
is Mary Jane anywhere to be seen?
No Mary Jane.
No. But
Gwen Stacy.
But they've got Otto Octavius as a senior in Peter's class in Horizon.
Oh no!
Yeah,
no.
Yes.
Tried to make Doc.
So Doc, let me get this straight. Doc Ock goes to Osborne High. Is this it?
No,
Horizon High.
Horizon High.
And he's Peter's like what a student advisor, like the guy who's supposed to be like the guy who's supposed to be like the senior classman who's basically supposed to be keeping an eye on Peter in terms of like
basically
Hornacek in YouTube chat says in the season finale Alpha shows up.
They can't put Mary Jane into the show because it would take up vital Quesada and slot screen time.
Okay, so Slot was only in a cameo.
What, Ashley? Ashley, what?
Felicia 1 point.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, my biggest annoyance with this show is the over-reliance on science. I mean, they take the science aspect of Spider-Man and he talks and acts like Reed Richards. And I'm like, Spider-Man, science is important to Spider-Man. It's a core part of his character, but it's not like the defining trait. And everything I've read and seen online with the producers was, we're going to bring more science into this. And I'm like, that's just what we needed because we've now replaced S.H.I.E.L.D. as the crutch of the show.
Too old for comics in YouTube chat says Steve Wacker has said that Spider Island will be coming soon on the cartoon.
Zach,
Spider High.
Zach, in fairness, Peter has more to do with science than Spider-Man does to do with S.H.I.E.L.D. Sorry,
that's true.
Let's start wrapping up. JR, after all this discussion about Osborne High and anything, has this encouraged you to go watch the show?
Well, no, but I think we have to remember this show is not directed at us. They do not care if we watch it. They would probably just as soon we don't watch it. They don't. I mean, it's not for us. They don't care what we think. So all of this, we're amusing ourselves, but they don't care what we think. They don't care about our opinions.
Again, it's so sad because it didn't have to be that way. In my mind, I'm desperate for some sort of Marvel universe the way DC Universe did theirs. And we'll never get that because lesser people are making the shots on that, are calling the shots on that.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree. The closest we got to that, Berryman, honestly, was truly the 90s show because how many elements crossed over with that 90s show. We saw Captain America, we saw the X-Men, we saw the Fantastic Four. They all came on the 90s show. And had the original plans for Spectacular gone through, we would have seen Johnny Storm, we'd have seen Captain America.
But that's a whole different bunch of crap.
The second closest we ever got was Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Ashley, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
I was just gonna dispute JR just a little bit.
All right.
Where the shows might not be marketed towards y'all. A lot of animated shows are getting marketed towards millennials in my generation, and yet I don't see Marvel taking any kind of direction with that. They seem to be marketing more exclusively towards kids, even though a lot of people have noticed, people are my age, grew up on the golden age of cartoons, and they've gotten really attached and latched on to some of these animated shows, and they've noticed that and responded in kind. And so we have some really great high quality animated shows coming through that have kind of peppier writing, that aren't just that are a little more like all age instead of just dumbed down for kids the way that a lot of people used to try and do it for a while. So I wonder whether Marvel is attempting to market to that avenue with their animated shows, or they're just kind of skipping out on the trend and just ignorant or oblivious to it, or just intentionally ignoring it. So
they're definitely ignorant of it.
The Disney just is re-releasing a new DuckTales series because of the
the nostalgia factor. So I think the Marvel TV shows would be ripe for that, and we could have an opportunity to have a lot of really good animated shows there, especially with some of the success that like DC's having some great success with their animated movies. Some of them are hit and miss. They're not completely marketed towards towards not exactly all ages.
At this point, DC's TV shows are better than Marvel's Netflix shows.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but like DC seems to be on the ball with it, but Marvel just doesn't want to. They just want the I don't know, the kids. They're just marketing exclusively towards kids. So, and I think they're missing.
Yeah. They are right. YouTubers, any final comments on the cartoon that we've got? Let me.
That was a lot more passionate debate than I was expecting. So I'm glad that. And I'll continue to watch it, and I think we've got somebody that's reviewing it on the front page. So you check out those reviews on the front page.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. We've got another topic coming up. We've got George. Let's talk about Homecoming's doing good at the box office.
Yeah, it finally surpassed the previous film, the disappointing Spider-Man 2. It took it almost 2 months.
Oh, wait, George. Amazing Spider-Man 2. If you say Spider-Man 2...
Yeah, pardon me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So Amazing Spider-Man 2, which continued the trend of diminishing returns for Sony after, here's Spider-Man 3, and then here was Amazing Spider-Man 1, and then here was Amazing Spider-Man 2. Well, now we've ticked up a little bit, and the pattern of diminishing returns has been broken. It took Marvel to do that for Sony, because Sony damn sure wasn't able to do it themselves.
Right.
And on top of that, it just now opened in China. China's been delaying a lot of American releases to try to sort of beef up its own cinema industry. So they've been delaying a lot of films, and it just opened in China, and it opened in China big. So you may actually have a situation where this comes back up and makes almost as much money as Spider-Man 3.
I think it's interesting also this year's box office has been awful. But Spider-Man was released.
I wrote a big article about it for that paper I do film reviews for.
Spider-Man was released in July, and we're now in September, and it's still, I think, in the top 10 every weekend. It had a little bit of a drop-off after the second weekend, but it's still in the top 10. But the top 10 is not what it used to be, because it's the box office has been so bad this year.
Right.
Well, I mean, interesting. Also, you say about China, George, about the terms of that's because with the box office, because that's kind of also, I think, a lot of Hollywood productions are kind of trying to gear more towards that market, because that's a huge market now. And especially because
it's why in Doctor Strange the Ancient One was a white chick.
Exactly why.
Yeah, but and I remember seeing reports about a report of this. I think it was 60 Minutes or whatever it is, because with the Chinese film industry, the way the whole thing works is they purposely have to kind of limit how, like you say, how many American films have to come in. So that's why usually they kind of tend to go for the more big blockbuster kind of stuff like Spider-Man Homecoming and Wonder Woman and everything else, because
I think they only have like 20 slots a year.
Oh, don't say slots.
Yeah.
I don't want 20 slots.
Yeah, but so that's why, so that they reserved a lot of those their big budget stuff for those particular slots and everything. So so you're not going to see, the very, smaller-esque movies or whatever it is trying to get into those areas, but because there's so many, but Yeah, because I mean, I'm surprised, with the China box office and everything like this. I think that's kind of what more people were kind of waiting for. I think that's probably what Sony was anticipating, because they figured, oh well, yeah. So if we get into that Asian market, then that's going to be the determining factor.
I just went to Box Office Mojo, and they have a breakdown of how much the movie's made. In the United States, it's made $26 million. Foreign, it's made $422 million for a grand total of $748 million. Well, that's not including China at this point.
Yeah.
So China's got a
After this weekend, you may be able to add about 75 million to that. That's why I'm saying it opened big in China.
Yeah,
people were ready for Spider-Man in China.
From the bean counters will say this worked. So that's why you're hearing talks of the director coming back and the writers coming back, etc. So they're
plus, Brad, they made it for a lot less money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Than Amazing Spider-Man 2. Well, not only did they spend way less money on it, they made way more money.
Yeah.
So Sony was like desperate for Marvel to come in and save them, and that's exactly what Marvel did. Marvel came in and said, "Okay, this is how you spend less and make more." And Sony was like, "Oh, okay, so we need to make Spider-Man a woman next movie." Basically, I mean that's Amy Pascal's take on it. Did I get that cleared by the censors? I'm sorry, I said something negative about Amy Pascal. Let me walk that back. Amy Pascal's a magnificent person who we should all love.
That's funny.
That also are we going to go segue into some of the other?
Yeah, we're going to talk a bit about. I think Ashley's topic now, which she has. Wanting to talk about.
The claws are out.
Silver and Black. Give me an update on this movie that you're so anticipating with Black Cat teaming up. Wait, she left? What happened to Ashley? Where'd she go?
She's getting something.
She must be getting props.
I feel like I've let people down now because I haven't felt the need to copy JR because I've always been more original. But I feel like I'm being left out now because Zach has copied JR. Well, Zach has always had props though.
Well, Zach's
Ashley's going off to get props or something. I feel like should I have puppets next time?
JR, are you? We have a wardrobe change.
She's changing.
The closest I have to Black.
So wait. So she pulls my shtick. I see. I'm on to you.
Shut up.
All right, Ashley, tell me about Silver and Black. We have the Wildcat coming in for Silver Sable, evidently.
So we have more details on the eagerly anticipated Silver and Black. Felicia Hardy as our favorite beloved thief. And in hot pursuit, the ever-popular Silver Sable, because these characters have so much to do with one another. And I guess they just decided, hey, these two characters are, color plus animal, so clearly they need to be on the screen together. But allegedly there are some rumors about characters that are going to be added into the movie. So we had Black Cat and Silver Sable, and that's what we knew. But apparently there's bringing in the Wild Pack, or at least some allusions to it, which was again, that Silver Sable had, and that was people compared it to the A-Team, I believe, just kind of I never watched the A-Team.
George did.
George did call me a fool earlier, so I mean.
Enigma says your enthusiasm is frightening, Ashley. How much you're looking forward to this movie?
Ashley's about to run out and buy every issue she can find of Silver Sable and the Wild Pack.
I like that book back in the day.
I did too. I like it.
Stephen Butler was a good artist on that book.
I don't have anything against it.
Who else are they putting?
You just don't like the peanut butter and jelly of Black Cat and Silver Sable together.
I don't like what they're doing with my girl.
Yeah,
I want them away from her. I want them to leave her alone. They don't have a good track record. I don't trust them.
You don't trust Silver Sable, or you don't trust Black Cat and the safe, competent, creative hands of Amy Pascal?
I feel about as comfortable as a parent taking their child to, I guess, the only daycare within a 50-mile radius, but it has a 1-star rating. I mean, I feel so.
And they're all out of Teresa Parker.
Now, have they kind of announced the possible villains for this thing yet?
Yeah.
They're saying,
Go ahead, Ashley.
Metal Strom is going to be the main villain.
Hey, the Robot Master.
Mendel Strom.
Yeah, but didn't
Robot
they also
Master,
hint
yeah.
at somebody else recently? Wasn't that?
Craven, I thought, right?
No, there's a bigger
I
name.
didn't see anything on Craven. The big names they've announced or that have been coming through are Dominic Fortune, who kind of buddied up with Silver Sable several times. Agent Mark Sim, this one's kind of, they're dubious on it. There's a character named Mark Sim, and he's Korean American, and there's not really any other better match than Agent Mark Sim.
It's like a 3-day-old Spider-Man buffet.
Yeah.
There was a big that she's purposely left out, and I think I know where George is going with this.
Yeah, there's a name that we're missing that they.
We're missing, George.
They have Powell and Klein are two other names that have been added, and then more recently announced were
Chameleon. Are you talking about Chameleon?
Nope.
Oh, who are you talking about, George?
The Silver Sable's Uncle Monty, and then I believe it was Chen and Arnold. I'm loading the page right now.
The YouTube chat just said the name.
So I can't remember the names.
I keep waiting for JR to get animated.
JR is going to get animated.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Favorite villain.
Chen and Arnold. Yes.
Norman Osborn.
So we have
Norman Osborn.
Powell, Klein, Chen, Arnold, Morty, Silver Sable, Dominic Fortune, and Mark Sim.
And Norman Osborn.
And there are also rumors that Mendel Strom is going to be the main villain, and Norman Osborn and Oscorp are expected to play a role, including other villains such as the Tarantula and the Scorpion.
Wow, what a mess of people in this movie!
Lord.
What a mess! It's like everybody
so
that's never been in a Spider-Man movie. We're shoving it into one.
Sony is so thirsty right now.
Wait a minute, though. If
Union for Spider-Man, and they're all after Black Cat.
So wait a minute. So correct me if I'm wrong here. If supposedly the Scorpion's showing up in Silver and Black, does that mean they're getting Michael Mundo in this, or is it going to be a totally different actor playing the Scorpion?
My sound was going in and out. I was having trouble loading the page, so.
I think it's going to be a totally different actor, and instead of it being like the Scorpion, it's going to be the Scorpion Gang, because that's more contemporary. Yeah. It's going to be the cartel known as the Scorpion.
And it's going to be all. It's going to be
still confusion about whether or not this is still kind of part of the Spider-Man Homecoming.
It'll be a Scorpion Gang, all female, maybe one trans guy or lady in there.
They are saying
maybe an Inuit Indian.
What, Ashley? Go ahead.
It is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's it kind of takes place within that, but it's separate.
Ashley, is there anything that you're looking forward to in this movie?
Wow.
JR, is there anything that you're looking forward to?
I distinctly remember, I believe it was George assuring me back when this was first rumored that, these kinds of things get thrown around all the time, but they don't actually happen.
Actually, if it makes you feel any better now, I still don't think.
Where is my God now?
I still don't think it's going to happen.
JR, what do you think of Norman possibly being in this movie?
What I heard or what I read once was that Norman is not going to be seen, that it's just going to be the voice of Norman Osborn.
So he's going to be Dr. Claw.
Theoretically, that would still allow Disney or Marvel to cast Norman Osborn. So they could have this tenuous connection between the Sony and the Marvel movies, but Sony would only do Norman's voice and still leave room for Marvel to actually cast Norman.
Ernst Stavros Osborn.
It'll probably be like some distortion because he doesn't want it known that he's connected to this crime syndicate, and all this complicated bullshit.
I can't think of his name right now. The one from the Norman Osborn from the Raimi.
Willem Dafoe.
Have William Dafoe voice it.
No, let's.
No.
Hey, or you can always bring back the frozen head that they deleted out of the Spider-Man film.
Nice segue, Mike. Nice segue.
JR, are you up for some Osborn frozen head?
Wow.
That's the best offer he's had tonight.
That escalated quickly.
I was about to say, I think the Countess in the last Amazing Spider-Man storyline might have had a
Oh
but,
my god!
Wow. Okay, not Mike segued.
Ashley's going to quit the show after this episode.
Mike segued into Ashley's other topic, which your canceled plans.
I try and switch tabs.
Ashley's next topic is canceled plans for Amazing Spider-Man 3, which Mike kind of segued into, which was very nice, Mike. Ashley, tell me some canceled plans for Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Okay, sorry, my audio's being really crappy. Anyways, so yeah, some details were revealed about the canceled Amazing Spider-Man 3. Den of Geek was interviewing Mark Webb, the director of the Amazing Spider-Man movies 1 and 2, to kind of get an inside look on what all was going on behind the scenes, if there's anything he would have done differently, and some of the things that, you know, they were trying to pull together with the evolution of the franchise, which, you know, as we know, never happened. So he says ultimately he, you know, he feels like, you know, he had a really positive experience. Of course, he's not saying like that. He's denying that there was any interference from the producers and from, you know, the corporate involvement, saying that, you know, it was entirely on him, everything that happened with the movie. And, you know, he's the director, so it's ultimately his call, whatever happens. So, I'm not sure how much of that I actually believe, but, you know, respect his, you know, his words. But, he says looking back, he, you know, he'd want to approach it differently just because he, you know, he really didn't know what he was doing exactly going in. It wasn't something he'd ever done before setting up a big franchise like that. So he would go in a little wiser this time.
It showed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely did. And I can sympathize. I know these things are just big giants now in the movie industry, and it's not exactly something that a lot of people currently in the industry have experience with, because this is kind of a new trend. But
did he say anything about, oh, hey, I wouldn't have wasted so much time on the goddamn parents?
No. And interestingly enough, he did, and his ideas for the third movie didn't really come back at all. So doesn't say anything about the parents. It's almost like it was completely wasted and it never really mattered. But anyways, they were planning on having a whole Sinister Six movie apparently before the third movie even came out, which I think we all kind of knew that. They're going to have.
We covered that extensively on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, they're going to have Chris Cooper come back and play the Goblin. They're going to freeze his head and then bring him back to life. He neglects to mention whether he would be brought back with the rest of his body. So I assume that Goblin would just be portrayed by an animated head.
JR, that we're good.
And for reaction, let's go to JR for a reaction.
Yeah, I can just see Chris Cooper's head on a car, like the Silvermane, you know.
Or you put it on the glider. You just have a head zooming around on the glider. You do that.
A frozen head, JR. That we're going to make a Norman sickle.
I was about to say a popsicle or something like that.
So Norman Osborn is basically Mr. Freeze. Or
that was going to be their main villain, and he was going to come out and lead the Sinister Six and be their head, so to speak. And they had mentioned a little bit about the Vulture too, apparently.
Oh,
but that's about as far as that got.
Yeah, he was going to be members. Did we dodge a bullet, everybody?
I feel like I want to see Goblet's head on the glider as the villain.
Yeah.
Do you think we dodged a bullet not seeing this movie?
Think of all the action figure possibilities with a frozen Norman head.
I mean, they could have really jumped the shark.
Yeah, would have jumped the shark.
Yeah,
you could put you could take they could have a toy line with just Norman's head in a jar that they can screw onto whatever, like a big robot or a shark or anything.
or better
portion
or better yet, better yet, you have Norman Osborn's head on the glider and it transforms into a robot. And
so
they're like a Green Goblin, like.
All right, so JR, you just mentioned the Silvermane head. So I present to you.
Oh my gosh! Put it on.
Could have had that.
That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me. As absurd as all of this has been.
Yep.
Norman Osborn headmaster, according to Enigma. That's funny. They didn't jump. Hornacek says they didn't jump the shark. Actually, they jumped the glider on that one.
The other idea, you can put the Norman Osborn's head on the front of a Mack truck and have him chase around Emilio Estevez.
Oh, that's fun.
Or now I'm thinking like some kind of what were they calling Transformers? Just like the combiners, where you have the Sinister Six like all come together and form like one body and
by our powers combined.
Goblintron. It's like
Goblintron.
He forms out of like all the Sinister Six have like robot panthers, and they all combine into one giant goblin.
That could totally be a Mendel. That could be a Mendelstrom Spider-Master thing.
We need to stop.
Cinetron. There we go.
We need to stop giving Amy Pascal ideas.
Cinetron. Oh, that sounds like a bad movie. Cinetron. Surround sound brought to you by Cinetron.
The new Voltron is actually pretty good, by the way. I'm going to plug it. So.
Wow.
The what?
Oh, the new Voltron one?
Oh.
Yeah, on Netflix.
But I like it.
All right. Zach segued into the next topic about Marvel Legends. How's that? We're doing segues so nicely, gang. Zach, tell me about Legends.
All right, so.
What are you eating, by the way?
Goldfish.
Oh, God.
Live ones or cheese?
Cheese. Cheese goldfish. I didn't realize you're going to me next, so sorry. I didn't mean to have a mouthful. That's what
Good thing you were ready like a pro.
I'm on to you, Freeman. Anyway, so San Diego Comic-Con comes and goes, and practically nothing of merit on the comic side was announced. The studios announced the new Captain Marvel movie, and we got the scrolls. That's cool. But then we get to Marvel Legends, and every year I'm always like a kid in the candy store. What is going to be coming out for Marvel Legends? So, a couple of things of note, a couple characters of note that are Spider-Man tangibly related because of numerous guest appearances. One, Johnny Blaze is going to get a motorcycle, and they're going to be releasing
a.
Yeah. Right. They released.
It's like Captain America finally getting a shield.
Yeah.
So during the Rhino wave of figures of Marvel Legends, they released the modern day Ghost Rider, but Johnny Blaze is going to get a motorcycle, and they're re-releasing the Ghost Rider with the motorcycle this time, $40 retail. Really cool. Looks really great. Also being released is Black Widow with her motorcycle. Then we turn to Walgreens. Fantastic Four. Medusa is going to be getting a Marvel Legend, and they've already done Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman.
That's a hard to find figure.
Oh, I get it. You can't see her very easily in Walgreens.
Yep. So got her.
I walked right past her in the store and almost missed her.
he was going.
These jokes write themselves there, Berryman.
Right.
Her brother is he's a pretty hot figure. You can't find him on the shelves right now because he's just come out, but they've released a Johnny Storm figure. So next up is going to be Medusa and Reed Richards. So and they have also announced that a new Ben Grimm figure is coming, but it'll probably be next year. All right, so then we move to Spider-Man. Of course, the main event here. But before we get to Spider-Man, I want to also mention, Brad, you remember those Toy Biz figures, like the Sinister Six they did last year with the 3.75 inch scale?
Yeah, yes, it was like, weren't they on the '90s Toy Biz background?
Yes, so they're taking some of the most popular figures, such as like this Captain America, and
they shrink them down.
Nope, this Pizza Slice Spidey, and they're actually going to be producing Legends without Build-A-Figures.
Well, they lower the price, though. That's a $20 figure you're holding in your hand.
Right. I don't know what the price point is yet because they haven't been released. It may be a little bit cheaper because
it's a good-looking figure, by the way. I can't spend $20 on it, but it's a good-looking figure.
It's a great figure, and it's one of the hottest figures on the market because of how good it is.
Yeah.
The difference between those and the originals is there's going to be less hand swaps. So they're meaning there's less removable hands.
Yeah.
And
or the 12-inch Scarlet Spider, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there's no Build-A-Figures in this group. So they've got Captain America, Wolverine, Iron Man, Black Widow, and Punisher.
Hornacek says Ben Grimm's price will be rock bottom.
What a revolt in development.
It's clobbering time on these prices. It's like if Ben Grimm was a car salesman.
So, needless to say, that has been something that a lot of people are excited about, but getting to the new Marvel Legends. So, I'm going to say that for the first time in a long time, I am profoundly disappointed.
Uh-oh.
So, here is what they've announced.
You've been reading Amazing for years.
In terms of figures. I'm profoundly disappointed. So, here's what they announced. Because you demanded it. We're getting a Gwenpool.
No.
Because you demanded it. We're getting a Spider-Punk.
No.
Because you demanded it.
I'm good.
Because you demanded it. We're getting a Spider-Woman, not pregnant Spider-Woman, but that same costume.
Oh, okay.
The modern day
like a pregnant Jessica Drew figure, like with Lamaze act.
No.
So you mean like
it's that costume? It's I couldn't remember like the name.
Oh, the costume she wears, not that she's not Jessica.
Not that she's.
Okay.
There's no
You're like those DC superpowers in the 80s. You squeeze the legs and the kid comes out.
Now with water breaking action.
With water breaking action.
There will be an attachment for pregnancy. Like there will be like a pregnancy torso that you can do a head swap out.
Ashley is disgusted by all this. Look at poor Ashley. She's face palming us.
All right, so that figure was actually announced at HasCon, the new Hasbro convention for toys. So they didn't announce the full wave, but they announced the Build-A-Figure.
And it is.
Are you ready for the Build-A-Figure?
What is the Spider-Man Build-A-Figure?
Frozen head Norman Osborn.
No. Oh, excuse me. There's one figure they did announce that I was excited about.
Okay, hit it.
New Mysterio.
Okay.
Oh, it looks really good. Okay, the new Mysterio looks.
What Spider-Man Build-A-Figure are we doing?
The Build-A-Figure is going to be, drum roll, the Lizard.
Oh.
Who actually looks pretty sick. It looks really good as a figure.
As in ill or?
No, it looks sick in terms of.
Okay, I'm just giving you crap.
Now with child eating action.
He squeezes.
The one complaint I have on it though. The one complaint I have on the Lizard figure is like the tongue for some reason is 30 feet long, like it's Venom or something. Right. But other than that, that is the new Marvel Legends. Now, supposedly a leaked list came out of SKUs. The UPC.
Look out,
number.
Zach! Your dog's peeing on your bed. Benji just came up on the bed. I just saw him.
I'll take problems Ashley doesn't have as a cat owner for $1,000, Alex.
Anyway,
real quick, Zach, before we wrap this show up.
All right. So the SKUs were leaked, and so some other ones of note. Supposedly, there's going to be a new Prowler figure, and
that'd be cool.
Spider-Man Noir actually is a figure that's actually.
That'd be a neat looking figure. That's cool.
Ooh.
I'm looking forward to that. We'll probably be talking about this at New York Comic Con because they're trying to like piecemeal this whole wave out. There was some other things that were announced recently. There's a 90s Deadpool and Cable. So if you're looking for the classic versions of those characters, those are coming out. And the Build-A-Figure for that one is the Sasquatch.
They've already had a Sasquatch on Marvel Legends. All right. Yeah. I always like to end the show by ticking JR off.
Brad, we didn't talk about the news that you were going to cover.
Oh, crap. Well, screw it. The show's long. I'm ending the show ticking JR off. I want to hear JR talk about Flower Spider-Man. Let me hear it, JR.
Why wasn't this my topic?
Oh, he brought flowers.
Different kind of flower, pal.
Oh, sorry.
For this very special edition of Spider-Man Around the World.
Oh, my God.
We go to Thailand, which, as you know, has long been a destination for pedophile sex tourists. list.
Oh no!
JR.
Going here.
JR.
Wow.
But that's not important.
Yeah, let's not do the lisp. I mean, come on. Come on. You can't do this whole segment with a lisp.
You're gonna get Brad doxxed in a minute here.
Oh my gosh. Go ahead.
The story begins in eastern February, where a motorcycle is rammed by a white truck, which causes the motorcycle to flip and the rider to bounce off the bike. Horrors! But then Flower Spider-Man comes to the rescue. He rushes toward the injured man with all his flowers. And well, we don't know if he does anything because the video and the story in there. It turns out that Flower Spider-Man oh, you don't laugh at your own jokes. It turns out that Flower Spider-Man is really Wasan Ketsuan.
Oh my God.
A popular flower vendor who sells flowers by the Yang.
Brad, you gotta mute, brother. We're gonna have to both mute. Oh my God.
I'm muting. Anyway, Wasan Kasuan, who's selling his flowers at the Wang Junction, has decided to dress as Spider-Man as a marketing gimmick, so everyone calls him Flower Spider-Man. So thanks to Spider-Man for saving the day again. So if you need help and you pray very hard, maybe Flower Spider-Man will come to your rescue too. The end. Oh my God. Now, what do you want to give me to do next, Brad?
We're done.
I think this is basically JR daring Brad to give him something else.
Hold up that Spider-Man again. Let me see the Flower Spider-Man.
Flower
Spider-Man. That poor thing.
Flower Spider-Man. You know.
All right, for those that are listening to the podcast via audio form, JR is holding up a Spider-Man figure.
Too well for comics in the chat said I think Flower Spider-Man died in Spider-Verse.
JR has decorated a Spider-Man action figure with flowers all over him. You have to go to the YouTube channel to see this video that JR he did like a 3-act play just now.
Yes, this is Flower Spider-Man.
Oh my gosh. Bernardo said, and the Oscar goes to JR for so wow. So a guy dressed in a Spider-Man suit that sells flowers came to the rescue of a crashed car. Boom.
That's not as good as what JR
did. It was a motorcycle.
Okay.
He was rammed by a
motorcycle. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Motorcycle got hit and then
and Hornacek says JR's wife is saying, "Where the hell did my flowers go?"
No, JR does not buy his wife flowers.
You bought flowers for us and not your wife?
I like you guys.
Dude, more president goes Fettinger 2020, y'all.
Masked guy says never change JR, and I mean it. And Enigma says this is why there's only one JR.
And probably the gene pool.
Oh, Lord President says, Brad, this has to be the album art for the episode. Oh, okay. I'll make Flower Spider-Man the album art just for you all. All right. Wow. All right. Final thoughts on this episode, JR and Flower Spider. What are your final thoughts?
Flower Spider-Man says good night.
Zach, final thoughts.
Oh my God! Talking about action figures and transitioning to Flower Spider-Man was seamless.
That was
and
seamless.
I profoundly applaud JR and his ingenuity.
JR has more visuals. Mike.
Now I'm thinking of his Flower Spider-Man the comic. Now it's something.
Wow.
That could be dance on this next project.
George, final thoughts, sir.
I can already hear your text messages.
Ashley.
Good night, Flower Spider-Man.
Wherever you are.
Good night, Ashley.
Don't have it told to me. I gotta sleep tonight.
And now, Ashley, you got to come back next episode.
All right. That's a wrap on that one, gang. YouTubers, we're going to take a 10-15 minute break. We'll be back. I'll post the link up on the front page and also on the Facebook channel, and I'll give you the link. And subscribe to the channel. It'll be broadcast there. All right. Thanks, gang. We'll be back in 10-15 minutes.
Okay.